We start right now. All right, so welcome to another Talk Real, Get Real. And,
Trigger.
I got
Facebook trying to get us, man.
Facebook sucks, man.
don't say that
Yeah.
on online, because then next time it happens,
they're gonna screw us again.
It's like, oh, say Facebook sucks.
That's all I gotta say, right?
Yeah.
This is what I gotta say. Facebook. And that's what I gotta say on Facebook. And I mean that in the most nice way.
Oh, there it is. That's all he got to say about that.
Without a doubt. So, guys, we gotta hurry up and start the show
yes.
because Facebook doesn't know what the hell they.
Yes, and we have a very, very, very special guest.
Yeah. We have a local Shifu. I'm gonna fix this right now because this is messing me up too. We got a local Shifu that I asked him to come by, and he said instead of doing it live, he wants to come on the show.
Come on the show.
Come on the show live and talk. So I think that's even better. So, guys, hang tight. We're gonna do a. We're gonna have.
We're gonna go forego all the paying bills and everything.
Yeah, we're done with that.
We gotta get going.
So let's get ready for the show, shall we?
Yes, sir.
And we're back. So slide over just a little bit. No. Slide. You can get closer to me, bro.
Goes in.
Yeah.
All right.
Get closer to me.
All right. We might have to go to the big bobbleheads.
Yeah, I think
we might have to go to the big bobbleheads.
I think we might. I think we might. This show.
Everybody's like, "What the hell was
this
that?"
This show isn't that cool though? Technical difficulty.
Yeah, man, that was hilarious.
Anyway, yeah, I think we're gonna go to the big bobblehead.
Yeah, and then we'll have a little bit more room.
You think so?
Yeah.
So let me set this up. Let's see if I can set this up. So we're just gonna change things up just a little bit, right? And then we're just gonna separate.
Okay.
Right? You want to do that?
Yeah, we had the page of the other page, but that's okay too.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do this, and then let's see. Let me see if I can get this straight. If it's gonna go boop 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 boop.
Oh,
no, we're good.
Nice.
Right. So let's slide back.
We have to slide back.
I'm gonna take the headphones off.
Yes, we don't need the headphones.
We don't need the headphones anymore. And without any further ado, you got to position yourself right, Shifu, because I don't want you to get lost. Yeah. And let's see how this works. So, Shifu, come on in.
Let the man in.
And you could actually, if you sit right back here, we should have enough people here. Enough people. We should have enough room.
Hey!
Perfect. Hey! What's up?
So I hope my ball head doesn't do anything.
People, how are you?
Good. How are you, Shifu?
Good.
Lloyd.
No.
Doctor.
This is Shifu Wilfred Lopez.
So,
longtime friend of us, Wing Chun Shifu, and the official name of the school
is Integrative Wing Chun, Long Island.
Nice.
So, Shifu, tell me, how long have you been studying for?
Well, I started in 1972. In Chinatown.
Just so people know, I was born in 71.
Thank you very much.
No. So what I'm saying is you know what? There's culture, right? There's culture and there's length in your training. So that's all I'm saying.
So most of the decade of 1970s, from 72. I started in 71 at the Southern Prairie Master School when I was 16, and then I was just there for a year or so, and then I had to stop. My mother wasn't paying for it anymore. So I picked up Wing Chun in 1972, 73, like that. And been there ever since. We had a school in Jackson Heights where I was an assistant instructor in 74, 75. My son was born in 76.
Very nice.
And
he is in the studio right now.
Yes.
He's giving the...
And then, unfortunately, life took a turn, and at that time, and I pretty much took the whole of the decade of the 80s off. which I regret to this day. But luckily in 91, I think, Brandon, right? He wanted to learn Wing Chun. I started teaching him Wing Chun, and then by coincidence, we found out that my Shifu was still teaching in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I said to him, you know what? I'm taking you back to my Shifu, and I'm going back myself.
Nice.
And that was like 92, 93.
And you know what's good about that, though, is that you were humble enough, right? You were humble enough to say, let me bring you back to my instructor. Let me bring you back to my Shifu. Because a lot of people out there don't care. They think that if they do that and they introduce another Shifu, then you're going to be less of a martial artist or less of a Shifu, you know? And unfortunately, that's not how it works. It shows the humility. It shows the humbleness of the instructor.
We were just having a conversation about that
5
minutes ago.
While I was not in the room.
About somebody who shall remain nameless, he who shall not be named, has skills, and this is the thing.
You can name them. No, I'm just kidding.
I can name.
No.
But this
we don't name anybody in here.
I'm sure he's watching.
I know you've been around a long time. You've had students that are naturally adept to learning and have natural ability, have good skills and stuff like that. But that's not the only thing that you're looking for.
No, it's character and heart, and checking your ego at the door. It's you want to be humble. You want to absorb, always learn. That training never ends. Becoming a Shifu, it's just a new way of training, a new way of learning, because I'm learning from my students every day. Mm-hmm. Every time I share my knowledge with them, I relearn things that I've literally forgotten over time.
Oh, so you mean when you get to be a Shifu, you don't get this idyllic memory and just remember everything and have stuff happen like osmosis and stuff like that?
No.
Absolutely not.
Hell no.
There's no magic pill. And like I said, also this is not the Matrix, man.
Yeah, man. Plug me in.
Yeah.
And I learn and relearn and continue to learn with the help of my students.
Every day.
That's the new level. That's the next chapter.
Good for you, man, because you know what? A lot of people aren't like that. A lot of instructors, a lot of Shifus aren't like that. And that's what I've always respected you, and that's why I wanted you on the show, because I don't respect a lot of people.
No.
I don't like a lot of people.
Not you. Well, I would say you don't respect a lot of people. You don't like a lot of people. But even though the people you don't like, you still show respect to.
Yeah.
That's one thing. You've always shown me a lot of respect.
Yeah.
Even when I first came down the first time meeting.
But I like you. You know what it is?
I'll always be the peacemaker of Long Island. Let me just say.
When I see people and I watch them do stuff and they're legends in their own mind and they start to go off the rails, sometimes I say stuff and I put it out there, and it's
You're real.
I am, and you know what? I'm not boasting or bragging or anything like that, but, for me personally, if you're teaching a martial art and you're teaching something that's going to get somebody killed or somebody's going to get hurt because they don't know what they're doing, you're telling somebody you're going to be okay out in the street. Here, you learn this material, you'll be okay out in the street. And this is a guy that has a school and sparring is optional to get your black belt. I got a problem with that. In today's day, let me ask you a question. In today's day, when somebody goes, "Oh, I'm a black belt," what do you say to that? That's the face. That's the face, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, because when people go, "I'm a black belt," I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, so is everybody else. You put a quarter in the slot, turn the key, and you get your little black belt.
Yeah. So let's elaborate on that, because I'm sure you have a lot of students that come to you from different styles with black belts.
Well, yeah.
And you not that you assess them, but you know.
It's always been a thing with Wing Chun, especially in the 70s, because it was so new into the city that a lot of martial artists from all walks of life would come to the school to learn this martial art that eventually, they found out that Bruce Lee was Bruce Lee's original martial art, but mostly they wanted to learn the sticky hand portion, so they come in with black belts and stuff like that, and they've had other experiences. In today's world, is a little different. You get people that are black belts or that are from other systems or whatever, and they want to learn this to add to their repertoire pretty much. But I assess them, you know.
Well, you have to assess them.
Yeah, I mean, and I tell them straight off, look, my first martial arts when I was a kid, at the age of 13, was Kyokushinkai. And I don't know if you know what Kyokushinkai is, the Masuyama style, right?
I gotta say, everybody at one time trained karate.
Yeah.
Only because Kung Fu wasn't very popular
here. Not only popular. No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nobody was allowed to teach it.
No one was allowed to teach it.
Yep.
In the 60s, you had to be a full-blooded Chinese person for them to teach you Kung Fu. It was very secretive. And the only schools out there at the time was karate. Kyokushinkai was a Japanese karate. My sensei at the time was a guy named Tadachi Nakamura, who eventually broke away and created Seido Karate, which is pretty big in New York City. But I was curious about Kung Fu. And one of the first people to open their doors to non-Chinese or other races was a guy named Jinfu Mark.
I know him.
And Jinfu Mark was the son of Praying Mantis Jiglum. And I was, really basic. But there was another guy that I'm into history, so I hope you don't.
No, it's okay.
On 27th Street, there was another guy named Alan Lee.
I know him too.
Yeah.
And there was also an Alan Lee in Wing Chun, but this guy was Alan Lee. It was Shaolin Kung Fu, but he would call his style Wushu. He wouldn't say Kung Fu.
Yeah, well, because Wushu is basically war arts. That's what it really means.
That's what it was.
So people, nowadays, right? So when people say, "Oh, you do Wushu," I get upset because no, I don't do Wushu. I don't do modern Wushu. But I do war arts. I do Shaolin Kung Fu. But that's the stickly. So. And
they were renowned for their fighting, for their free fighting, and I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in the ghetto. And we were teaching the neighborhood kids or our peers in the centers and in the community centers and the projects. And I met this guy who was a student of Alan Lee, and that was the first time that I really met a Kung Fu practitioner. And he wanted to spar me.
Okay.
And I was really into it back then. I was into sparring. I had high kicks and stuff like that. And I sparred him, and we had a hell of a good fight. It was a hell of a good fight. I had one arm bandaged up because I always had a weak left wrist, but it wasn't because I injured myself. I would always bandage it up. And we got into it so much that at one point he went to give me a punch into the ribs, and I blocked it with my elbow, and it made this loud clock noise. So he thought he got carried away, and I said, no, And it just intrigued me at that time. And then we started sharing stories and things like that. I said, damn, I'm starting to lean towards this Kung Fu thing, And then more doors started opening up, and there was a famous school in Chinatown, Fuzhou Pai, which is the Tiger Claw system.
Yeah.
And I have friends in that
Was
school.
that Tak Wang School?
Wai Hung.
Wei Hung School. Oh, there was Wei Hung School back then.
Yeah, he was the original.
Yes, he was.
Wai Hung, and he, this guy who was one of his students, top students at the time, we all would hang out in Chinatown, and they knew that I wanted to learn Wing Chun because I wanted to learn Chi Sao, because I had great kicks at the time. Not that I have that anymore, but back then, and I wanted to complicate, complement it with,
of course.
And that Chi Sao thing I wanted to learn. And he told me, he said, there's a Wing Chun school right off the block, blah, blah. You always want to learn Wing Chun. Boom, threw the car down, went upstairs. I went down there, met Chow. My Shifu was Chung Kwak Chow, and saw them, and I just joined the next day.
That's awesome. And once you find your home, once you find your place of training, that's where you want to be, and I think that's a wonderful thing. I do want to say hello to a couple people on here right now. Jerry Fuller's on here. Jerry, what's going on? Hope everything is well. I hope you guys.
Trip?
Yeah, Trip's on here too.
What's up, Trip?
Haven't seen Trip in a while. The Mighty Samson, what's going on, brother? Hope everything is well. We have Jerry's on here. Jerry, what's going on? And
Mr. Fuller.
Yeah, man. This so my phone.
I got you.
My phone's not doing so well.
Heather Butlerworth. How you doing, Heather? Maddie Sandusky.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody. Who else on?
Simo's on.
Hello, my love.
Shane.
Hope everything is well.
Yeah.
And guys, I just want to say hello and thank you to everybody. If everybody who's ever on right now, please, if you can, hit the share button.
Yes.
Definitely share. Definitely.
Sifu Gomez is on.
Sifu Gomez.
Handsome brother.
What's going on? So again, hope everybody's well. If you can, please do me a favor. Share it. Share it away. Let this grow. If you guys can start sharing while we're on, it's just going to educate the public. It's going to help you guys out as well too, because this is what it's about. It's about educating. Craig, what's going on? Craig's on as well right now. Hope he's safe.
Be safe out there, bro.
Be safe, brother. So yeah. So
my question, because you said integrated Wing Chun, right? Mm-hmm. So elaborate on integrated Wing Chun for me, if you would, please.
Okay, I'll try. My Sifu, he's a very open-minded Sifu. He's a person that, again, like we were talking about egos and stuff. Mm-hmm. He is one guy that never wanted people to call him master or stuff like that, and was very humble. But he always was thinking about improving his Wing Chun. Mm-hmm. His Wing Chun. We went to China. We went to China, to Hong Kong in 1996, and he realized that when we went there and he saw other Wing Chun instructors and his own home Sifu, my Sigong Hua Sum, he saw that they all changed certain things, and he knew that Wing Chun type of art, because it's so basic, mm-hmm. That it should evolve with the times.
Okay.
So what he decided to do, and because I am still under him, I never wanted to really break away. I'm not that kind of person. Mm-hmm. He decided to call it integrative Wing Chun, where he could integrate other techniques,
other aspects,
from other, some grappling, some choke holds, even mm-hmm. though Wing Chun always had sweeps and things like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why he now calls it integrated Wing Chun.
Sweet.
But he tends to go back to the old traditional, but adds whatever he thinks that may be modern or progressive into his Wing Chun.
Oh.
Another Wing Chun Sifu that does that is a guy named Francis Fung. His style of Wing Chun, he's also a very progressive. He's very involved with Danny Inosanto and that group of people. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think there's anything.
That's good.
So
you're allowed to keep traditional style, but be able to open up what you're doing, right? Because we're very traditional. We're traditional Northern Shaolin, but I teach Shaolin tactical combat. And the Shaolin tactical combat is basically doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway, right? Breaking up all the traditional moves and the forms and being able to break them down and put them into practical application that you can use right now.
Yeah,
a lot of people like we always talk about, getting caught up in that classical
mess.
The classical mess of Shaw Brothers, right? Shaw Brothers screwed up Americans. Shaw Brothers screwed up Americans because
Shaw Brothers, though, man.
Dude, I love Shaw Brothers too, but right, you gotta.
You
have to remember, right? All the movies
yeah.
of Shaw Brothers, the whole point of what they were doing was they created movies with the Peking opera thought behind it, so it had that pattern of fighting that people thought
that was real.
That was real,
yes.
right? Because people are stupid. So, so because of that, you get into that classical nonsense where people think that's the way they fought back then.
Certain ways to block, certain ways to evade, certain ways to do this, certain ways to do that.
So you get caught up. So the forms teach us a certain way. So the forms teach us these transitional movements, and each form teaches us a block of movements of self-defense that we can apply that all kind of arrange together. And what you do is you break it apart, and you learn the self-defense, and then you be able to apply it in real-time situation. And I can understand that's where your integrated understanding is from, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we should be doing.
But like he said, you have to be innovative.
Yes.
Because what worked in the 70s
ain't
working right now.
Today. Right. With the advent of MMA and stuff like that, you have to be able to deal with that.
Yes,
I agree. And that's what creates that whole thing. And like what Sifu said, we teach the same way. Some people say, why do you even have to practice forms? Why do you have to do all this traditional stuff? Well, within those forms, especially in the old days, that was your encyclopedia.
Yes.
And each forms and the techniques are really up to interpretation. The way I interpret certain things may not be the way my other student interprets it. And I encourage that open-mindedness. A lot of times I say, okay, and that's the other thing with Chow. He decided to, in Wing Chun we have 3 traditional forms, just 3. I know you guys got like what, 20, 30, 40?
Something like that.
Yeah.
We got a lot.
Which is beautiful stuff. I mean, you know, I've seen them perform their stuff. Very traditional Shaolin. The drunken style is beautiful. It's a lot. But we don't have that in Wing Chun. We're very cut down, simple, 3 open hand styles, and 2 weapon styles, and then the dummy style. Shifu Chow decides that he wants to recreate some of the forms. And I was kind of reluctant, you know, because it's what I learned, you know, and I know how to extrapolate techniques from this. And I teach my students these forms, and at this level they learn this form, and at this level these are what these techniques mean. And of course, if you see techniques that I don't see, by all means, show them to me, and I encourage that, and then we can decipher it and, you know, work with it and see what works, what doesn't. He actually recreated certain forms, but for me, they were brilliant. I think they were well thought of, good technique, good teaching tools. So in my Wing Chun, I now have 5 forms.
There you go.
I have the old, the new, the old version, new version, basically like that.
Yeah, and you know, and I think that's awesome, because in our system, so as you get into the black sash, my teacher used to encourage us to, in order to get the black sash, we have to create a creative form, we have to create a weapons form, we have to create an internal form.
Wow.
This is what my teacher used to do. Yeah. Nowadays it's just a one creative.
On top of everything else that we had to do.
One day it's just one, you know, now it's just doing a creative form.
You have to do a creative form, and then they have to create their own
two-man
set.
Nice.
Either open hand or weapon.
And that's what's created.
You know? And a lot of people is like, well, they frown upon, like you said, they frown upon that. But my take is yes, you have 3 traditional forms, but they didn't come from Moses and the 10 Commandments. Somebody had to create that.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the whole thing.
And that's the thing. It's
like the illusion.
You have forms that you've created that elaborate the system.
Yep.
Your Shifu did the same thing.
Yep.
And you have the old Wing Chun gods that said, "Oh my God, 5 forms? There's no way." Why?
Exactly.
And so it's like, who's to say that that's the wrong? As long as he's not, you know, what I call the 31 flavors of Kung Fu.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true, because even when we went and I think that was the revelation that he had when we went to China in '96, because somebody once asked him, I said, if you can go back in time, who would you want to learn Wing Chun from? And he said, well, Yin Wing Chun, because then I would know what the original thing was.
Yeah.
Because he knows over time people have changed it. Even Yip Man himself changed it to his way of teaching.
I watch people that have direct lineage, and I watched people do forms. I've watched Shaolin done a bazillion different ways.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And every generation, you got 34th fighting generation monks, 35 fighting generation monks, 36th generation fighting monks. Yeah. And every monk and every generation has a different way of doing the form, right? So, you know, I have a school in Myrtle Beach. Now, we do forms a certain way here, but I go down there, I watch them do forms, I'm like, wait a minute, that's got to be fixed, that's got to be fixed, that's got to be fixed. And they're only 12 hours away driving, right? So, and it's now in the present. It's not like 1,300 years later, right? Yeah. So, you know, people got to realize that things change. Before we go any further, though, I got to say hello to Shihan Andrew.
Oh, he's on?
He's our biggest fan.
Oh,
hey. You rock. Wherever you are in TV land.
You got the top fan thing again?
Yeah, he's top fan,
top
man.
Fan forever.
We have Josh on here. Josh, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by. And we have Bai Long Chuan. Thank you so much for being here and being on here.
That sounds like a seafood.
Yeah. Michael Nunn Ya. Woo! Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Julio's on. So, guys, and Samson's my Israeli brother.
Israeli Shaolin brother?
He is. He's on guard. He tells me I'm pretty popular in Canada. Go figure. But
time to do a seminar in Canada.
Well, that's what I told him. I said I'm ready to go to Canada. You know, I'm French Canadian. Set him up. I'll knock him down.
Right, so on this show, I'm the one that likes to play a little devil's advocate. So
now, just mind you, it's 8:41. We're gonna go a little longer today.
Because Facebook tried to play us. But in terms of Shifu Chow expanding the system. And including 2 extra forms that he interprets.
Jerry said Batgirl is watching on YouTube. Just so you know.
Batgirl?
Yeah, I don't know that is.
Okay. So anybody else from outside looking in, be like, well, what qualifies him to be able to do that? What qualifications does he have to expand a whole system that everybody's practicing around the world?
Sure. But Shifu Chow, he has a big reputation. You know, he used to belong to the Eastern Kung Fu Federation, or the Waihang. He has a long history. So he can get away with this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that he has experience.
He has experience. Yeah. And he has a reputation from being around. He was actually the first person to teach Wing Chun in New York City.
No way.
Nobody ever gives him those credos, but that is the fact.
Do you know that person?
Yes. Yes, Josh. He was a student of mine. Hi, Josh. How you doing?
Yep, that's Shifu Will.
Yes. We got him.
Watch the show from now on.
We got him.
We got lots
good
of
guys. Good guys, Josh. It's good to see you.
See, what's great is we get to connect to people. We got people all the way from, we got Asian Mantis from Hong Kong.
Nice.
And he watches the show all the time.
Yes.
You know, we're actually worldwide. Technically, if you got one person all the way in a different side of the world,
one person that watches in the country.
We're worldwide,
yeah,
right?
Worldwide.
So we're worldwide. So I think that's.
Let me clear one thing about the forms, though.
Okay.
He actually replaced the forms. And just to your fact about what you were bringing up, well, who are you?
Yes.
Right? So I said to him, well, who am I? They're not going to believe me if they see the form done the new way. Like, he wanted me to throw out the old and replace it with the new. But I said, I can't do that. I have to show the old.
Sure.
And I will incorporate the new.
I don't believe in getting rid of the old, but I do believe on expanding on that, right? I believe on growing on that.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was brilliant. He was brilliant in doing it. Every time he was going to do it, he would make me do the old way, and then he would do the new way, and then he would show the differences and things like that and why he did it. But I just added it. He just replaced it.
That's it.
But he's good with it. He's good with that. He understands. I am not him. I can't get away with that. A person will come to the school and say, what kind of Wing Chun is that? I've never seen that Wing Chun, that style before, because they're expecting to see Yip Man style Wing Chun.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people get mystified with a lot of the Kung Fu because of the Shaw Brothers and things like that.
Yeah, man, I agree with that.
You can learn on Shifu Google.
Shifu Google. Don't laugh, right? Shifu Google teaches everything.
Shifu YouTube.
Yes. Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's true, because you can get the 3 forms. They don't have to come to you.
Yeah.
They can get the 3 forms from Shifu YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? Or Shifu Google.
It can't be Shifu YouTube. You got Shifu Google and you got Master YouTube.
Master YouTube,
Master
okay.
YouTube.
Yeah,
but they will never get the intricate.
Exactly.
The feel.
Exactly.
You'll
never have that teacher showing you and going, that's wrong.
Yeah. Or what it feels like
to get hit
and get that griminess.
Yeah, to get hit
and get that griminess.
How to relax, how to have your flow, how to produce your jing, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
You need a guide for that. And like I said, look, I'm not a master maker. I can only point you in that direction. How you decide to take that path, it's totally up to you.
Shifu Raul always says, and I strongly believe in this. There's one thing that I believe in that I say all the time. Persistence overcomes resistance. That's the one thing that I believe in. And now I'm adopting what Shifu says all the time. Shifu Raul always says, he goes, I can teach you, but you have to train you.
Yes, that's so true.
And you know what?
That's what I try to say to people.
It's such a revelation if you think about that, right? Because you can learn whatever you need to learn from the person who's teaching you. But if you don't train it, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
Which brings me...
I knew it was coming.
Which brings me to the next level of our conversation. Now, I know we only have 15 minutes, 20 minutes left. in what we're doing, and I really want to thank you, Shifu, for being here.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. It was
and,
an honor.
and being patient when we had our technical difficulties.
Oh my God! But I had.
I'm just right down the street.
So I was, and I encourage you guys to do this. If you own a martial arts school, read your goddamn reviews.
Yes.
Read those reviews.
Yes.
Because if you do not answer those reviews back, if you don't say thank you to people, and if you don't slap people when they write something nasty, it will end up biting you in the ass. And I mean nicely, slapping them nicely, if there's any possible way of doing that.
Slap them with words.
Yeah, well, no, I mean just kind of like as a matter of fact type of a situation, you know? So we had somebody leave a not so nice Google review because their child is training at the school and their child is not advancing. And the reason he said was because we had changed our moral values or our core values. So I nicely said that if we changed our core values, your kid would have got a sash. But he doesn't practice enough. He doesn't train enough. And if he would practice when he went home, then he'd be able to advance because he'd remember the information. And then there wouldn't be so much repetitive things going on, right?
Exactly.
So it's important for the parents and the teacher to work together to get the student to go home and practice, and that's where we come.
That's so true.
And that's
homework. The same as going at school. They give you homework for a reason.
Yeah, you can't go to school, learn math, go home, play Fortnite all night, and then go back the next day and think that you're going to absorb all that math, right? And then when the teacher goes, well, he's failing class, and you go, well, I don't know. He goes to school every day. How could he fail? Well, does he do homework? No. All right. Well, then
I don't know. I see him on Fortnite all night long.
He knows how to calculate moves and guns and stuff. The kid can tell me he can rattle off all the types of guns that are on Fortnite, but he can't do his simple algebra, right? So so it is. So the concept is again. And I read the review, and I was very nice, and I put it. I was nice about it.
We had to structure it a couple of times.
Yeah, we had to do
a couple of rough drafts before you sent it out.
But all in all, you know what? The whole point of it is that the teacher and the instructors and the students and the parents, everybody's got to work together. You bring your kid to class, make sure, and this goes to all the parents out there. Take your fingers out of your ears. Make sure when the kid goes home. Practice.
Yes.
Let the kid practice because if he doesn't practice, when he comes to the school and he doesn't remember it, he's going to repeat it.
And a teacher always knows when a person's been practicing on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You can see right away when they come to class the improvement. And you can see, and you can tell those that don't practice.
Yeah, see, look at that. Shihan right away. He's our biggest fan, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Matt Lightning Lyle.
What's up, dude?
What's up, Warrior? I like the videos.
And also, with those students that you see that training on your own, it makes you want to help them improve even more. Those are the type of people you gravitate to give more information to.
Yeah.
And to bring under your wing and to groom them. To be, he might be the one. He might, and you look at it as he might be the one. He might be the one that
might carry it on. Might carry it,
And when I wanna go to Florida for a couple weeks, and I need somebody to do something, he might be the one.
Let me ask you, how many Lloyds did I go through before I got you?
Oh damn.
A lot.
Yeah.
I went through a lot. Through a lot of people before I got you.
A lot of people after me too.
Yeah. Me, I just write you off. Yeah. I just write people up, man.
Yeah. And you're a Shifu who's stern, but also have that suppleness too. I notice about you.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody comes in and yells no, dude, you got to do this. And so what I don't want to do, I'm like, all right, because it's I can't make you do it, but I'm not going to give it to you because we're that tight, we're that friend. So either way, you have to conform to the way that I do it, whether you take it or not. Like you said.
That's up to you.
It's up to you.
Yeah, man.
Up to you. I can just show you the path.
Yeah.
I tell them in the very beginning, too. I say, hey, listen, first 3 months are going to be very boring. Why? Because I have to build a foundation. A foundation is
repetition.
It's repetition,
yes.
just like in the Army. And it can be boring.
So wait, so there's no magic pill?
There's no magic pill.
There's no Neo?
There's
no plug-in?
There's no plug-in.
Right near my top knot, you can plug it right back there.
That's right. That's right. And that's, that's pretty much it. And those guys that go past those 3 months and are still enthused and go home and practice, I can definitely see the difference right away. Right
so
away.
We were having a conversation, and you were, you were telling me that, you had no aspirations of teaching.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really had no aspiration at the time. When I was 20, 21, just before my son was born, I was an assistant instructor. Shifu told me that I can go out and teach on my own, or we can, pool our money together and have one school in Jackson Heights at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was an assistant instructor. And then my son was born and things happened and whatever. But I never really got a certificate because he was never around. When me and Shifu parted ways, it was only because I took on a new job, and then when I went back, the school closed. I didn't know where he lived. We had no cell phones. And none of that back in the day. It was back in the days of dinosaurs. And, so he had a certificate, but we never got around to it. And I felt like, hey, I can't go out and open a school and not have any credentials.
What?
That I can't do that.
Wait, hold on.
And people will come to me and say,
you had integrity to not do that? As somebody else who shall not be named?
Oh, man. Are we talking about that person
who
again?
Had the audacity to do the underground thing, and
you know who you are,
and you didn't.
You know who you are.
I wouldn't do it.
I know who you are.
I wouldn't do it. So, in the '90s again, when I was getting up there again, my Shifu asked me to teach in Long Island, and at first I was like, I don't know. I'm working hard. I don't know if I have the time, but I would love to pass his truth, because at the time I realized that there was no real Wing Chun school in Long Island that I can hang my hat on, Mm-hmm. And then I reluctantly agreed to do it. But I told him, I said, you got to give me credentials, buddy. You know what I mean? And we went through the test process and all that.
You mean you still had to, he didn't just hand it to you?
No. We had to. You have to earn it.
But you see, that's the beauty about it. And what's really great, Shifu, is that you have a lot of years in. You put in the time. So, you know what? For all these people out there, they get their black belts in 3 years, and then they open up a school and they're running a school. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah. That's a problem, in today's day. So here's my next question. So, I know you made the face, but in today's day, where do you think the martial arts is headed, and how do you think that we can either repair it or not?
Well,
it's
you know what, why I hesitate is that.
Hold on. I gotta set this up just in case. Just in case you say some foul words. That beep. Right? Oh, I gotta turn up the volume. Go ahead. So I'll just keep my finger on the button just in case you start to let loose.
No,
I know you're not the man to do that.
No.
I am. Look.
No, I with the advent of MMA, a lot of things have changed. Today's young people, they want to make money, and they want to make money on the octagon. So they'll go to whatever MMA school they can go to, and they're not really thinking about rank and stuff like that. But I think they come to realize once they're in there, though, that there are 3 things that they have to study. They have to study grappling, which is jiu-jitsu. They have to study Thai boxing, Or
Sanda.
Or Sanda.
Yeah.
And they have to, study a little regular boxing and stuff to even get in there. Because they are, people from other styles and stuff.
Yeah, man,
like
it's grown.
But it's grown. It's a multi-million-dollar organization, business. What's his name? White?
Dana White.
Dana White just opened up a new facility in Vegas. Did you see that thing?
No.
It's a huge campus of UFC. But if you want, in my view,
This is a man who goes to gambling places, like
like casinos.
He goes to casinos with his own personal $100,000 roll. Like he rolls in with that stuff. I don't know if you realize that, but I watched a couple of things. He got kicked out of a couple of places because he was making so much money that they couldn't have him there no more. They were like, "Yeah, no, you can't be here no more." And they sent him to another place. You can't be here at the Grand Hotel no more. You got to go somewhere else to gamble because you got so much money. The odds are you're gonna win something.
Yeah.
But it's funny. But go ahead.
But again, when you want to learn a traditional system, you have to put in the time. And I think I've seen there are martial arts, which you guys know, all the other schools and stuff where they do put in the time.
Yep.
They put in the time. But there are the other ones that are business-minded where they feel like they have to continuously give kids especially.
Oh, yeah. Everybody gets a trophy.
A trophy, award,
cotton candy.
A new belt, a new stripe, blah, 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 to keep them going. But I really don't know how to answer the question as
yes,
to
you
where
do. Yes, you do.
going.
You just don't want to say it. I'll tell you.
But go ahead, tell.
That's where it's going. It's going down, folks. It's going down. It's going down quick.
It's because of the MMA.
I you know what? I don't want to say it's because and so I'm gonna
That's only
I'm gonna say that it's not going down because of the MMA. I gotta tell you guys
because they got some good fighters.
I think
they do.
MMA. I think MMA actually forced the karate guys, the kung fu guys, the sanda guys to step up their game to prove themselves that they can fight.
You're right.
So I think that MMA actually helped us in that aspect and messed up other martial artists who don't really fight and everything else, and it kind of messed them up. In order for them to keep people, they give them belts and they give them fluff and they give them trophies and they try to find other ways of keeping their students.
There's that cause and effect.
Yep, absolutely. But I think in my personal opinion, I think MMA was a good thing because it took everybody by surprise, and it said, you know what, you better step up your game and you better prove yourself.
It's true. That's true. And they got some really good fighters with good skills.
Yes.
And you can tell that the guys that do go far, they've put in the time.
Yes.
They've put in the training. They've got the skill sets up.
Evolved themselves. To kind of answer the question that Shifu asked for you, I think moving into this next century, not to compete with UFC in a sense, but to have that healthy competition, to have everybody raise up.
Yeah, man.
I think what a lot of these traditional schools should start doing is teaching the traditional art, but then have a section of students that they train for that type competition with their techniques in mind. So every traditional school, you're going to learn the traditional art, the self-defense with it, but then we have this other section where you can use those traditional techniques in the cage for whatever particular style you're practicing.
And that was the whole idea that Chow had with this whole integrative thing, because he really got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I didn't, but he really got into it. And to be able to recognize it, feel it, deal with it, And the only way you can recognize it, feel it, and deal with it is to actually be exposed to it and train in it and incorporate it into your traditional.
Without a doubt, and that's why I created the Shaolin Tactical Combat. Shaolin Tactical Combat is exactly what that is, and it really puts everything into perspective, I think.
And I think if more traditional schools did that, they would see more enrollment in their schools.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I think they would see more enrollment in their schools.
More enrollment and more people sticking with it.
Yes.
Not the leaky bucket theory.
Not to mention the fact that, they're saying, not to put MMA at the end of their name, but if you want to train in certain competition, we have that curriculum for you, but you still got to learn the traditional stuff.
Yeah.
You got to,
you mean so I can't say, this is Shaolin Kung Fu of MMA. I can't create it 31 flavors.
No.
Come and train everything at the Shaolin 31 flavors.
No.
The Shaolin buffet.
No.
I call it Shaolin buffet.
Shaolin buffet.
Shaolin buffet. Come down and learn 31 flavors. All right.
But I gotta say though, compared to because I'm an old guy,
Oh, stop! Come on now.
And then compared to the old days, like the Shaolin monks, people in this country are more exposed today to all these old traditional styles of kung fu than back in those days.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And because of that, I think there are people that want to learn, want to be traditionalists in a way,
Yeah,
but you have to be a little modern.
Yeah, but then again, you watch these people like you got all these Shaolin shows, that go on, and all it is wushu done up on stage, and it's fancy, right? And you don't see, everything is all smoke and mirrors, and it's very fancy for the lo-fan, and they're not showing real traditional techniques and stuff like that. And that kind of, for me, it kind of puts a little hindrance on that too, because I have a problem with that.
Yeah, well, it's the entertainment factor of it. It's like, now instead, when we grew up, it was WWE, but now they got this whole new thing. It's AEW now. And now where people were flying off the ropes, it's gone to a whole new level. These people jumping, doing back 80s twists and stuff. And
now, that's all choreographed.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is
like The Rock and all that. They know that.
Yeah, but
nothing beats the luchadores, man. But you gotta watch that stuff. That's crazy.
But it's that entertainment factor that grabs the people and grabs their money. Yeah, which is mainly why they're doing it in the first place.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree.
Yes.
Gladiator.
Yeah.
But I think traditional schools can get a little taste of that to compete and to expand their schools and to have a healthy growth, and because everybody got to make money. Everybody's gonna make a healthy living.
Yeah, but you
got to do it in a certain way where it's not
can't water down.
Yeah, you can't water down your system, and you can't make money on somebody else's and teach. You can't make money teaching bullshit to other people. No. You can't do that. You just do the right thing. If you want to add fluff and add stuff to your system, who cares? Just as long as they're learning how to fight, just as long as they're learning other stuff and other real material and everything else, and
especially the art. You want
to
keep the art intact.
Yeah.
The art itself intact. You want that legacy to continue.
Yeah.
And down the line, because everything in kung fu is your lineage. Where do you come from? Where are you going? So, and you have to maintain that core.
Yes.
Core traditional.
Yeah, man. System. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Because we had a couple students that come in and they train and things like that, but they come in like they're going to Jack LaLanne. You know what I mean? They come in the sports bras and the yoga pants and stuff like that.
They come in the Jack LaLanne.
They come in to train, but people had that misconception, instead of traditional getting down, I call it getting grimy, but they come with the gym. They want the gym experience.
They want the gym experience.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's not. Yeah,
and and for me, that's not where it's at, because you can't really learn the art and what it takes to apply the art in a realistic sense, because that's what the art is all about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we can't have people come in with the gym experience and the yoga pants and the sports bras and stuff like that. It's like, no, you can't wear that here. We got a dress code, and there's a dress code for a reason.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
There's a dress code. You need to wear a sash. You need your uniform. You're not going to go to karate school and come in with your gym pants.
And you're not even going to go into the Brazilian jiu-jitsu school without wearing a gi. Right, and the ladies, they have to wear rash guards. They can't wear sports bras underneath.
Exactly.
Andrew wrote, I made money selling Sanda certificates. And then he wrote, just kidding. Honestly, before we go, we got a couple other things, but I do want to put on our commercial. So
we got a commercial?
Yeah, man. Come on,
gotta make money.
Let me just spread the juice. Spread the juice out there. So guys, hang tight. Hopefully it works. If not, I don't know what to tell you. So here we go.
In times past, well before the wall, Well before even talk of White Walkers, we needed training.
I should put something.
And good God, did we receive that training.
Jon Snow's talking.
Now you can
Not
go off.
Not the because I don't
trained
got
by
that.
those
I don't got
horrible
that much
dojo
juju.
schools that seem to give away belts like cups of coffee. If you want a real deal kung fu school, then stop bambying about with those half-baked dojo schools. Train true. Train with only the best school. The Shaolin Showcase School has been around for over 29 years. Masters of their craft, headed up by Shifu Gregg. Be ready for any situation or scenario. Kung Fu, Tai Chi, or Sanda fighting are all trained by Shifu Gregg, who has over 39 years of experience. And if you too are serious about being trained by the masters of masters in this craft, then the very least that you could do is check out www.shaolinlohan.com. Drop a follow on Instagram, whatever the hell that is. But most importantly, make contact. Today.
Yeah. Not bad, right?
Very
So
nice,
you
very
guys
nice.
you guys couldn't hear it, but it's Jon Snow in the background.
Very nice.
Stop bumbling about. You know?
How'd you get him to do that? Huh?
Yeah. It's the jujus, my man. It's the jujus.
Another thing that hurts some traditional schools, like what you saw, was the marketing of your school. Now, you had said, you like a very small knit school, and you have a close camaraderie with students and things like that, and you don't want to be the Domino's of Kung Fu.
The McDonald's.
The McDonald's of Kung Fu.
McDojo's and Burger Quan.
Where you're on every single street corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you still got to find students.
Yeah, you do.
You still have to find students. You know what I mean? And now we live in a day and age where there's so much information that it'd be at a disadvantage if you don't take advantage of it at some point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, you have your social media, then you have your website, and you have this and that. So, depends on where you want to take it as an instructor. If you want to be that Domino's, or if you just want to be, Pizza Hut.
All 31 flavor buffet.
Flavors, you have to market yourself in a certain way nowadays to be innovative, because back in feudal times, you just had to sit in a rocking chair and wait for somebody to come 100 miles to come train with you because they heard of your martial prowess.
And
you accepted them or didn't accept them?
Yes.
Yep.
That was.
You know what I mean? But
based on their quality.
But it ain't like that.
It's not like
it
that.
Ain't like that now.
And it's not like that today because the quality of the martial arts really diminished, and it's
not even that. It's just because of information. Basically, because
there's
so many choices.
Yes, there's too many choices.
There's a lot of choices.
Too many choices.
I think society. I think society just became very, desensitized with everything and whatnot. But I think that society just sucks because they. No, I'm just saying. Society sucks because they reward the people teaching crap. Right, they reward the teacher that they reward people like these mass schools. They reward them, and the teachers are messing around with the moms, and they're doing this and they're doing that.
Yeah.
Right, and they're rewarding. Right, society rewards them because they've got hundreds and hundreds of schools or hundreds and hundreds of students because they know how to market real well. They're black belts in marketing, but they suck as teachers. Right, and then you have, I'm really bitter about this, folks. And then you have people who really believe in the art and work really, really hard, and we don't have that many students because we're great in our craft, but we're not great in marketing, and we don't have
marketing and sales,
and we don't have people backing us, and we don't water down our system. We don't give away belts, and we don't do all that. So society rewards that. So it's a shame, and because of that, and you guys are right because there's lots of choices, so people can go anywhere they want and everything else, and they don't have to travel hundreds and hundreds of miles to be with the instructor, because when they did that, they got nowhere to stay. Mm-hmm. They end up staying with the Shifu. Mm-hmm. The Shifu takes them in, and basically they're not giving money, but they're giving their life to the instructors. So they take care of the instructor, and that's how that goes.
They had to at least promise him a certain amount of time, 3 to 4 to 5 years, that they had to stay there with him to train and do, other stuff to earn their keep. And, that was the way they paid. A lot of them, they had to, some students were given by their family, to, we want you to train. We're going to pay for you to train, and you're going to train. And I was like, well, I don't want to train, but we don't care. You're going to go train, because, this is a great opportunity for our family because this guy's connected to this dude, and, he's in with certain people of the court and things like that. And that's how it was back then. We don't have that nowadays, that luxury of that prestige, and there's a lot of prestigious masters that don't get that recognition because of that.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. We do have to. We are definitely over the top right now. So it's 9:12. So we definitely have to say goodbye.
Well, we started late, man.
Yeah, but we're in.
I was enjoying our conversation.
I am actually too.
Well,
I'm very fortunate to have you here today, and I appreciate it, Shifu.
Yes.
Like I said, I don't. There's a lot of people out there that I know. But there's not a lot of people that I'd like to be on the show.
I'm honored that you guys have me on the show.
So, and you know what? You've got a lot of history behind you. You've been training a long time. You can hear it in what you've trained and how you started. You're very honest. You're very open.
Thank you.
And you're a really good.
And we hear
So are you.
Oh,
the real deal.
Oh, thank you. And we hear your
real
love.
Deal, guys.
We hear your love for the art, the love for the training
from your heart, and
from
we
your
hear
heart.
It. Yeah, man.
It's part of me. I, as much as I pushed it away, they always brought me back.
Yeah.
So before we go, can you tell us, because we want to market for you, where can we find you? Because you're probably the only Wing Chun guy on Long Island right now.
Well.
They're probably other ones that are kind of on the ground,
Uh-huh.
but I'm currently teaching at a Kung Fu school in Shirley. It's in Series Circle. I forgot the number. I think it's 624.
Mm-hmm.
Series Circle. My classes are from Monday. On Monday from 8:30 to 10:30, and Wednesdays from 8:30 to 10:30. It's a small group. But I'm welcoming new blood. It's time for me to get some new guys in there.
All right.
And that's us. I know it's late, but a lot of my students have businesses and things like that.
No such thing. Yeah, no, man. And if you're looking to expand, let me know.
Listen, man.
Okay. Hey, who knows? I may be closer to home.
The door is always open.
But it's late. But it's for me. It's just like anytime he told me, oh, we have to be a certain way to teach, or to, somebody's coming to train, or some master's coming to do this, and we got to do that. I made the time.
Yes.
There are times where my boss ain't looking, that I even called in sick to work because it's like, oh, such and such is giving a seminar, and it's not just to learn the material, but you have to show face for your Shifu.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like so when he said roll call, we need all hands on deck because we have to show face, and this Shifu's coming, he wants to show this, and so like I can't come in tomorrow. I'm sick.
Careful, because I think your boss is watching.
He was
right?
watching, yeah. You know what I mean?
And another thing, when you do join my school, you are a part of a bigger organization, which is under Shifu Chow, and we do go to a school once a year in the city, and like he said, everybody's got to come to show face.
Yeah, man.
He throws a seminar.
Yep, you got to go.
There's a lot of good materials, and we all go once a year.
Awesome. And you know what? On that note, it was an absolute pleasure, absolute honor.
Thank you.
Brandon, it was very nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Sir.
And thanks for being here.
Thank
and thanks
you.
for
Thank
just,
you
know
much.
what? When I asked you,
it was an honor.
When I asked you, you were like, "Yep, I'm on my way."
Yeah, on my way.
And it's hard to get instructors to even come on here because for them to be open and honest.
Like they gotta
prep themselves.
Like they going on Good Morning America.
I gotta prep.
I don't prep for nothing.
Yeah, no, dude. We call it.
Comes out.
We call it threshold training or threshold. The threshold show.
Because I was invited to do a seminar in Arizona. From it was part of our same integrative Wing Chun. There's a group in Arizona, and they play AFU, Arizona State University, ASU, and I didn't prep. I just
because you don't know.
Boom, I just whatever because I feel the room.
Yeah.
See what they're really about, and
That's being a good instructor because you never know what you're gonna get when you get there. You might have people that have no skills at all, and you can't teach them what you wanted to teach them. Yeah. So you have to be open. You have to be ready. On that note, train real, get real, talk real, get real, and
Shaolin out, people.
Woo! Hopefully this works. If it doesn't, we're gonna get the beep. And it doesn't work.
It's faded.
Here we go.